Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello Scott.
Josh, my friend, Call of Duty continues to call and duty. Don't know what that means, but you have lots of information.
Yeah, Scott, there was a huge Call of Duty leak last night, essentially. This was picked up on Reset Era, but it came by way of a Twitter account called Reality UK, which has since been suspended because the amount of material that was leaked is kind of crazy. There's like images from maps, images of operators, all of that stuff. So this is a big leak that covers the upcoming Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is out at the end of the year, and Treyarch's next game, which has been dubbed here as just Black Ops 6. It seems to be a Black Ops game, but it's important to note that that's not actually coming out until 2024 because Call of Duty is taking a year off in 2023, at least according to recent reports, you know, due to just the trajectory it's been on and the incoming sale with Microsoft.
The fact that they need it.
And the fact that they need it, essentially. Well, the thing is, Scott, we'll get into this. Call of Duty's kind of needed a break for like a decade now, at least 1 year off, and it never kind of has. But to jump into the leak itself, starting on Modern Warfare 2, because that's where kind of like the most information has come from. Essentially, 9 images from 9 different maps have been leaked. One is called Grand Prix, and this sounds really fascinating. Like looking into this, apparently this has 2 different versions, a day version and a night version. But this kind of works as an active map, I would describe it as. It seems like there's going to be an actual race happening in the background of the map while you're in there kind of like going into this war zone. So that's one of the maps. We've got other stuff with monikers like Oil Field, Museum, Ground War is back this time around, one of the modes that was elaborated on in Modern Warfare 2019. The big one. That has some dedicated maps, and there are other maps in here called like Favela, which was, you know, from the previous Modern Warfare 2. So it's like, how many older maps are they going to be kind of remastering and adding into this? It seems like at least a few at launch. So yeah, before I jump in, do those map ideas, Scott, tickle your pickle?
They do a little bit. Now I think, even the word favela, that immediately flashed me back to playing through the original favela level in the original Modern Warfare 2. And I think that they do have a bit of ground to make up in regards to making this a big deal. Like I feel like, you know, we got that campaign trailer that came out. I forget if that was part of Summer Games Fest, but it was recent. Yes, across the last few weeks. And I feel like a lot of people looked at that and went, well, I'm going to buy it anyway, it's Call of Duty, but it's not really wowing me in the way that the Modern Warfare reboot sort of did back in 2019. So I think that they... 2019. I tell you what, I forgot that Modern Warfare... was it Black Ops Cold War even happened until we started talking about this morning. I was like, oh yeah!
That was a thing,
That was a thing, wasn't it?
Vanguard.
They did all that. And oh my god! Oh my god! In my head then, I was like, well, there's no way that Black Ops Cold War was last year. Yeah, Vanguard happened as well, didn't it?
It certainly did.
Very good. Yeah, they very much need to take a break so they make sure that all of these releases land going forward. But yes, I think Modern Warfare 2 is shaping up very well, and I kind of hope they don't just do a big old nostalgia play, because they do seem to be leaning on the nostalgia stuff a lot more this time than they did initially.
Me too, I would fully agree. From what we've seen so far, it very much seems to be a marketing push of, hey, do you remember this? Do you remember these characters? Do you remember these maps? But according to this leak, there is a lot of new stuff and a lot of changes to the gameplay. There are new modes, apparently, including some called Bounty, Free Roam, Knockout, etc. But there are some changes to the core kind of gameplay, I think you could describe it as. You know, it seems like it's taking a Rainbow Six influence almost, like from Siege. It seems to be like they're making, at least in part, the game a bit more tactical. Apparently, interrogations are coming to Warzone, and there's even a mode, apparently, from this leak, in the regular multiplayer that has you going into maps to try and save hostages, which is exactly a game mode from Rainbow Six Siege. So it seems like they're leaning into that kind of tactical side a little bit more. Apparently there's also swimming in some multiplayer maps, which was included in Black Ops 4, I think that was it.
Yeah, it was.
A few previous Call of Duty games, but it's apparently back for this. So yeah, apparently way more, a lot more options in combat itself, and a more tactical edge in certain modes. What do you think about that? Because Modern Warfare 2019 already started to introduce that little bit more kind of extra finesse in the gameplay, whether it was leaning around corners or mounting or whatnot. So what do you think?
I love that stuff, and I feel you call the actual mode, but it was the one-on-one in Modern Warfare.
God, it was
gun game or something.
What was that called?
Whatever that was called, I love that stuff. I like you said, peeking around the corner, sniping some dude, you know, scoring a headshot, whatever it was. I really like that stuff. However, I'm gonna big brain this, and it's not the idea of interrogations in first-person shooters started with Call of Duty. Like you said, they're taking it from Rainbow Six Siege. But if they do interrogations in a Call of Duty game, then maybe that makes Ubisoft realize that interrogations can be a thing in video games again, and then we get spies versus mercs at some point in the future. I'm I'm big braining.
That is big
Call
braining.
me big braining.
That's the meme of the guy when he's pushing the dominoes down. It's like interrogations in Call of Duty, Splinter Cell spies versus Mercs.
If Ubisoft's not going to learn from themselves, maybe, I mean, that's what Ubisoft does. They look at other stuff.
If that works, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Going into a few more of the details, generally, even from this leak, which is obviously incomplete and obviously, has a lot of code names and what have you, it seems like it's going to be a content-rich Call of Duty, which is good because 2019's version was absolutely packed with stuff, absolutely packed with maps, weapons, new game modes, and what have you. But there is another major part of the game, which is called DMZ in this leak, which is the Tarkov-inspired game mode that's been rumored for a little while now, and it's apparently coming in Q1 2023, so it's not going to be there at launch, but it will come later, and there's rumors that that's going to be free to play as well, a little bit like Warzone. So because there isn't a Call of Duty until 2024, Scott,
I was going to say,
it seems like they are getting a lot of content in the pipeline to keep you playing a version of Modern Warfare 2 for those 2 years.
Well, Call of Duty, like we've said, has been almost at war with itself for the longest time. Like, especially when they started realizing the reality of games as a service, and they started rolling out various DLC packs and all these different overlapping games as a service things. And across the last few years, in particular, you literally had a menu, the game's main menu, with 4 separate executables for all these different games and all these different season passes that you could buy and all these different versions of DLC and add-ons and everything else. And it was like, oh my god, just take a minute, just step back and analyze what you have, see what people want to play, and then focus on that. So I like the idea of them taking what would ostensibly be a 1-year turnaround and elongating it. Give that stuff twice the time and spread it out a lot more. I think that's just a healthier player base, or it leads to a healthier mentality around the franchise overall.
Absolutely, like you said, you don't want to get to the point where you're cannibalizing your own games. Like there was no real reason why support for the original Modern Warfare, and by that I mean the 2019 version, kind of had to stop. Like that thing was going strong, and the only reason it really stopped was because we had to get a new Call of Duty out.
That's
we had to
still
get
the only one
coming out. Yeah, you know what I mean? But it's like that game had legs. That could have been supported for way longer than it was, and it was in Warzone, but I mean for like the real game. And so hopefully we get more support for this going forward because of the 2-year cycle. And ultimately it means that Treyarch gets the chance to actually make a Call of Duty game this time around, because they've been scrambling for like the better part of a decade by now. They had to scramble to put together Black Ops 4. There was a huge report into like the crunch on that game. Apparently Black Ops Cold War was kind of saved by them when it was originally going to be in development from Raven Software and Sledgehammer Studios. They couldn't quite get together to make a game, so Treyarch was called in by Activision to salvage that project. So this is like the first time in a long time they've had, by the time this comes out, 4 years to make their title.
They were very much at breaking point. Like, we've already cited the season pass overlap, the fact that it just felt like they were forcing more Call of Duties out there, even though, like you said, we're still playing the likes of Modern Warfare all year long kind of thing. And I feel like they pushed that model as far as they possibly could. And then the Xbox acquisition happened, and Phil Spencer was out there saying we might look into relaxing release dates, etc. And it just seems like that is the best course of action in every possible way.
Totally. I mean, we've practically segued into Black Ops 6 itself, so there's only a couple details about this release so far. The leak wasn't as big as the Modern Warfare 2 one, but it did reveal a couple of maps. There's one called Stealth, which is kind of a hangar, I guess, a military-style hangar, and there's one called Pillage, which is kind of like this ornate home that's being destroyed by warfare, and then there are a few other code names like Island, Radar, Canals. According to people, in the comments who have been analyzing the screen grabs and whatnot, apparently this all points towards a 1990 setting, or that decade in terms of its setting, because apparently Treyarch have been kind of teasing that decade for a little while as well in regards to the zombie mode and what have you. So essentially with this leak, we now kind of know the next 3 years of what Call of Duty is going to be, which is kind of crazy, Scott.
It is a bit. What do you think of them just doing sort of the Modern Warfare and the Black Ops stuff? Like, I don't mind that. Like I said, I love Modern Warfare. 2019's Modern Warfare is, for me, the best Call of Duty they've ever made. I think that thing is just a masterpiece. I love it. But it's interesting in regards to them sort of taking a step back and going, okay, what are the biggest fractions of Call of Duty that have taken off? The Black Ops name was always in high regard, and maybe they just tandem off both of them, and Warzone is the thing that just underpins the whole thing.
Yes, I mean, it's kind of crazy that 15 years after Modern Warfare launched, we are still here with Modern Warfare and Black Ops like side by side as the two biggest pillars of Call of Duty. And admittedly, it's not as if Activision haven't tried other things. You know, we've had Advanced Warfare, we've had Infinite Warfare, we've had Vanguard, we've had World War II. You know, we've had these other sub-series that haven't been as successful as Activision would have wanted, and therefore they've been canned in favor of the more reliable titles like this.
As well, with regards to Black Ops, obviously, you know, the image behind us is like sort of a riff on the Black Ops 4 artwork, which people immediately hated or just couldn't take seriously. And then Black Ops 4 itself was like this weird sort of steering towards Overwatch kind of thing. It was like a hero shooter kind of thing. Even with, like you said, the swimming before, you swam like a bullet.
Yeah, he did.
Bullets don't swim, but if they could, they'd be very, very fast. And I think that whole game was kind of them going, maybe the Black Ops IP can be our version of a hero shooter, which is what the Battlefield tried to steer towards. And I feel like Rainbow Six itself has the operators, and I feel like, you know, the Overwatch influence on the first-person shooter scene is interesting to watch play out. And I wonder whether Call of Duty or Activision are done with that overall, because obviously the response to Black Ops 4 was very strong, and Black Ops 3 was already a bit of a mess too, trying to sort of outdo itself in regards to plot twists and, you know, future timeline stuff. And I just wonder what the hell the Black Ops IP even is at this point.
I think Treyarch and Activision are both thinking that as well, Scott, because the Black Ops IP has always been way more malleable than the Modern Warfare IP. Like, you go into a Modern Warfare sub-series game and you kind of know what you're going to get, for better or worse. You know the time period that it's going to set in. You know the selection of characters. You kind of already know the selection of weapons that you're going to be messing around with as well. When it comes to Black Ops, there have been so many different time periods. There have been so many different kind of versions of its multiplayer, whether it's going the hero shooter route, like you said, or whether it's going back to basics. Like, that series has reinvented itself so many different times, to the point where it's kind of, I know it's not just a name, but to a lot of people, like myself included, it's almost just a name, and then Treyarch will do whatever Treyarch does within that, whether it's set in like 2025, whether it's set in the 1960s, World War II, whatever. It's kind of, it evolves every time, and maybe not as much as people would like, but I do think it is more versatile than the other sub-brands.
Well, I hope that Black Ops as an IP within Call of Duty kind of means we can take a leap on something. Like, as much as I didn't vibe with Black Ops 3, I liked what it was going for in terms of ambition. I like that they were just reaching and doing something that stands out. Like, Black Ops 3 is identifiable, which you can't say that much about Vanguard, for example.
Right.
And I love Black Ops 2. I mean, I went back to that, I think it was only last year or the year before, and did the campaign again. You can still get matches on that online. Plenty of people are still playing Black Ops 2, and I feel like they're still hungry for that sort of distinct feel to a Call of Duty. It's why I still think Infinite Warfare is one of the best ones they've ever done, but no one ever admits that.
The multiplayer sucks, but the story's
brilliant.
I'll give you that.
F the multiplayer. I'm talking about the campaign. That thing is a better Star Wars than Star Wars was since 2015 to now. I'm just saying.
These are some crazy takes, but I love to get them on Monday morning, my friend.
It's
9 a.m. Monday morning. We get the craziest takes from Scott Tilford.
It's the hot take time. Now let us know what you think down in the comments below of the idea of a Black Ops 6. What do you want to see from the IP itself, and what do you think of Modern Warfare 2 going into the rest of this year? For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I've been Josh from WhatCulture.com.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Infinite Warfare
is pretty good.
It's alright.
It's alright.